Call to order the Alexander County Commissioners meeting for February the 5th, 2018. And I'll recognize for the invocation Chairman Milton Campbell, and for a pledge of allegiance, Chairman Ryan Mayberry. Commissioner Ryan Mayberry.
If you'd please stand. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you've bestowed upon us. Lord, we ask for your guidance and lead us as we make decisions for Alexander County that they're in the best interests of the citizens. Lord, we ask you continue to put a protective hedge around our military, our police, our emergency personnel, and their families as well, because we know the sacrifices they make. Lord, we thank you for all that you've blessed us with. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Maybe see. Our next item is recognition, and then seemed like at our last meeting we had some recognition in our EMS, and really glad that they do what they do and provide the services for us. I hate to see these that are kind of checking out, but we need some younger people too. I've said before to fill up and take care of these things that are going on. But tonight our special recognition will be for Mr. Billy Killian and Jeff Peel, if he'll come up, and Mr. Killian, if you'll come to the mic. Yeah, it's on there. I mean, just put it right. Get it to him.
We'd like to recognize Billy tonight. Billy's been with the EMS since 1984 as a part-time employee and came aboard as the EMT intermediate. During this time, Mr. Killian consistently worked numerous hours each year while still holding a full-time job. This included nights, weekends, and holidays. Mr. Killian was always available when called, which made him a valuable asset for Alexander County EMS. After the local furniture industry slowed down where he worked full-time, Mr. Killian saw a chance to become EMT paramedic through schooling during nights and weekends. Mr. Killian became full-time in 2012 as an EMT paramedic. Mr. Killian resides in the Wittenberg community with his wife, Brenda. He enjoys spending time with his children and grandchildren, gardening and fishing. Congratulations, and we are ecstatic about all the great things that you have done, but know that you have wonderful plans, and you're going to enjoy life, and that phone's not going to ring. So we would like to honor you with a key. And the plaque says, Alexander County Board of Commissioners hereby presents this key to the county upon Billy Killian for over 33 years of dedicated service with Alexander County EMS, presented February 5th, 2018.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for all you've done.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the county for the opportunity to work and serve, and appreciate all the guys back here in the back that's helped me along over the years. Fish are biting.
That's good.
And you can never go wrong when the fish are biting.
No, sir.
That's why they call it fishing, not catching. I hope you do some catching also. And all of you guys, if you'd like to come up with the other EMS guys and get a picture made, we'd certainly like to have that and have this
family.
memorable moment.
And get family and
It's a family,
anybody, get your family up here.
family.
Don't be bashful.
Yeah, tell them to come on up. Nobody's gonna bite. Don't be shy. Brother. I'll not ask which one's the oldest or anything, yeah. Hey. Thank y'all. Thank you again for your service to the county, and appreciate everything you've done.
Don't be too hard on all those fish.
I'll post them back for you.
All right. All right. And on with the recognition, I'd like to, at this time, recognize the Boy Scouts that are here, and their troop leader is Rob Duncan. And I think there's several Boy Scouts here. If you would stand, if you want to come and tell.
I just say, right,
All right.
old time's sake about school board time. This is one of the strongest troops in Alexander County. In fact, it's one of the biggest troops that we've had in Bethlehem in a number of years. They're doing a great job, Rob Duncan and Scout Master. Brian, will you self-introduce and the leaders you have along with you, please?
If you don't mind, if you come to the podium, that way everybody can hear out there in the radio land too, so we appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Holler, for being here tonight.
My name is Brian Heath. I'm one of the leaders of Troop 275, and we've got quite a few leaders here. That's what makes the troop and the boys successful. But if I can get Danielle Hester to stand up, Fred Roop, JT DeMauro, and that's our core leadership there. We're missing Rob tonight, but we appreciate all the work they do. And if I can just get the boys to stand up real quick, we appreciate all the hard work y'all put into the troop and the work that y'all are doing.
All right. And we appreciate the hard work of the scout leaders, and for the Boy Scouts, that's a good thing to get you solidly involved in community and doing things, and that's what we need. So appreciate y'all's attendance here tonight, and moving on, we'll do our commissioner's report. Is there any commissioner who has a report? I was actually able to attend in Stony Point this morning, the ribbon cutting down there, and that'll be a great asset to that area. There'll now be a branch of the Taylorsville Library in Stony Point. Real nice place. Everything looked good, and I think our county maintenance had spent a lot of time down there, getting things up to speed. So, everything looked good today, and there was already a couple people there using the library when I got there this morning. So it's hitting the ground running, and it's in the Energy United building that was kind of donated to the county, and then we've given it to some other uses. The church is using part of it. Senior Center is in part of it, and then the library, I'm thinking there are like 4 days that they will be there for half days. So some good things going on, and we appreciate the citizens down there and supporting it. So, all right.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to commend our health department too. They have so many great things going on and wonderful initiatives. Got the dental clinic and the physician's assistant and the new telehealth, teleportal. Just a lot of great services that they provide, and I think we have just a jewel of a health department. And They're presenting soon some things that are going on, but just like to give a hats off to them.
Yeah, that's right. We thank them. If there's no one else, we'll move on to adoption of the agenda, and everyone has had opportunity to look at it. I'd entertain a motion to accept.
So moved.
Have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, vote by raising your right hand. Thank you. Carried unanimously. Moving on to our next part of the meeting will be our public comment. Has anyone signed up? No one signed up for public comment, so. Next thing on the agenda, item number 2, recognize David Eisenhower, EDC Director for Public Hearing, Industrial Development Grant Application.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This public hearing is in relation to an application by Snyder Mills for an Economic Development Incentive Grant. Several years ago, this board made an amendment to our long-standing economic incentive policy that was aimed at helping existing businesses retain jobs. And that policy states that any existing industry or business that invests at least $1 million in building and/or equipment is eligible for a retention grant equal to 50% of the property taxes paid on the new investment. So Snyder Mills has made an application under this policy. They are investing at least $1 million. The estimated investment is somewhere between $1 million and $1.4 million. That number has not been finalized yet, but will soon in conjunction with listing with the Alexander County Tax Office. Should you approve this application tonight, the next step will be a legally binding agreement. It's referred to as the Joint Economic Development Agreement between Alexander County and Snyder Mills, which basically just outlines and is legally binding between the county and Snyder Mills. The incentive, if approved, would be paid over a 4-year period, and each year would be 50% of property taxes paid on the new investment only. And that, again, is based on equipment, so it's also, depreciation plays into it, so the grant will depreciate each year to some extent. I'm estimating that in the first year, this grant will probably be worth $3,000 to $4,000 for Snyder Mills. So fairly small grant, but it still shows that, we appreciate our existing industry and we are making efforts to do something for them. Snyder Mills currently has 274 full-time employees, so this grant will ask that they retain at least 95% of those during the life of the grant. So at any point, should that number dip below 95% of that number, then the grant is automatically null and void. I would also say, just as a matter of information, that over the last 10 years, Snyder Mills has invested approximately $14 million in new equipment at their facility on 16 North. So very good employer for Alexander County, and it would be my recommendation that the board consider approving this application. I'll be glad to answer any questions that the board may have.
I guess we need to open the public hearing before we go any further, since you've
Sir.
told us what it's about. I'll make as a motion myself that we have a public hearing for the Industrial Development Grant application. Second. Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of going into public hearing, raise your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you. Anyone who has a question, any?
David, so basically, to make it simple for people to understand, for 4 years, Snyder Mills is going to pay property taxes on that equipment that they install, and Alexander County is going to give them a refund of 50% of the property tax that they pay.
That is correct. It is a reimbursable grant. They won't receive anything until they actually pay their taxes.
Right.
And David, is that driven off an invoice, I guess, of what they purchased? Is that how you document that?
We document it based on the tax office. Each year, I'll work with the tax office to document what specifically the equipment is that is eligible for this grant. They'll keep that separate, and each year I just go back with them and we see what the depreciation is in each year. And also, just for information, along with checking with the tax office, I get Snyder Mills' a tax and wage statement each year to verify the jobs. So those are the two checks and balances in it.
Okay. Well, yeah, they're real solid. They've been in the county for a long time, so, and appreciate what they've done for our economy.
Snyder Mills is a wonderful community partner, great school partner, great community folks. Just, I think it's the least we can do to help them out.
Okay, anyone in the audience that wishes to speak?
Well, I'll just say one thing. You know, one of the reasons that Snyder Mills is still in business today is because that they have invested in new processes, new equipment, you know, keeping up with technology. That's why they're in business and where they're at today, and why we've got, you know, several hundred people employed here in Alexander County.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
So anything that they do to keep that going, we need to support them.
That's right.
Ask the audience.
Yeah. Anyone in the audience has a question or a comment?
Gary, one thing I would ask, and I think I know the answer, but obviously, this reimbursement grant through the ADC is available to any industrial company, basically any employer that makes a significant investment in new equipment, which we would most likely would entail them, the modernization of their processes. But obviously, this is not limited to Snyder Mills. This is available to any other group that did this, in a similar situation.
Yep, absolutely. And I would encourage any industry or business out there that if they think they might qualify or just want to know more about the program, feel free to give me a call, and I'll be glad to meet, and we'll discuss it and see if they are eligible.
All right. Thanks, David. And anyone else have a?
Has Snyder Mills received this grant in the town?
They have. This will be the second time that Snyder Mills has taken, the question was, has Snyder Mills received a grant before? Yes, this is the second time they've taken advantage of the job retention program.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, being none, I'd entertain a motion to close our public hearing.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing on the industrial development grant for Snyder Mills.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right. Public hearing is closed. I guess we need to make a vote.
Yes, sir.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the industrial development grant application for Snyder Mills presented by David Eisenhower with the Alexander County Economic Development Corporation.
Second?
have a motion and a second. Any discussion from the commission? All right, if none, I'd entertain a motion to approve. All raise your right hand in favor. Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, David. Just stay put, and you're up again. Item number 3, our project budget ordinance, P2, and recognize David Eisenhower once again.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. This project budget ordinance tonight that I'm presenting for your consideration and hopefully your approval is for Borealis Compounds Building Reuse Community Development Block Grant. For a quick recap, Borealis Compounds is our newest company in Alexander County that recently purchased the Alexander Shell building in the Alexander Industrial Park. They have pledged to create a minimum of 37 new full-time jobs in Alexander County, and hopefully will be many more. Their initial investment in Alexander County will be approximately $15 million. They are a plastics company that specializes in plastics for the automotive industry, so we are very excited to have them. This Community Development Block Grant is based on employment, so Borealis's 37 pledged jobs qualifies them at $20,000 per job for a community development block grant totaling $740,000. That $740,000 must be matched by Borealis. So in essence, they're going to spend at least $1.5 million and likely much more than that on upfitting the Shell building and equipment in that building. In addition, there is a $30,000 cost to the county, so the total CDBG amount is $770,000. And just as a quick review on that $30,000, $5,000 of that is for an environmental review, which is required by Department of Commerce for the CDBG program, and $25,000 of that is for administration through the Western Piedmont Council of Governments. Mr. Chairman, this is a project which you are very familiar with, all of you, but if there are any additional questions, I'll be glad to answer those as well.
All right. Anyone have a question?
Maybe what's the target date? Do they have a target date for operation at this point in time?
The target date is late 18, early 19. Of course, it's a big project, and these are construction schedules, so hopefully the majority of this project will be completed by the end of the year. But again, early 2019 would be in that range.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I just want to point out to the people that are listening that this grant is different from the grant we did just a minute ago. So this grant is a North Carolina Department of Commerce grant. So that $740,000 is not coming from Alexander County. It's actually coming from the North Carolina Department of Commerce. The $30,000, that's what Alexander County is actually putting into this particular grant. So it is going to be a $30,000 investment.
And, you know, for the business and for the jobs it's bringing, you know, that is some money, but I think long range it's going to be more than we can put a price tag on that they're going to, you know, be bringing to us. So thank you for your work, David. And if there's no other questions, I would need a motion to approve. I'd entertain a motion to approve the project budget ordinance P2.
Mr.
I do have
Chairman?
a question.
Yeah.
Do they get the $740,000 without our participation?
Do they get it without our participation? Well, our participation is
Just curious.
to assist with the administration of the grant with the COG, but they are approved for the money.
Okay, that's all I was wondering.
Yeah, it is like many other grants, it is a reimbursable grant. So they're not guaranteed this $740,000 unless they spend the 1.5. And there's also, like all grants with the Department of Commerce, there's clawback in the grant. So should they fail to create the jobs, then there's a payback of some of the funds,
Or potentially all of them.
or potentially all of it, yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the CDBG project number 16-E-2931, which is project budget ordinance P2.
All right, have a motion to approve. Have a second.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion?
I do have one question. Tapping on to what Commissioner Peel asked, just from, a lot of grants have a required, you know, county match, which, so this is not a situation where there's a required county match for that. But I do understand that the Western Piedmont Council of Government, which we are, you know, members of, and they administer the grant, and yeah, like I said, I guess my question is, or not, well, basically, we're just saying, hey, we'll we'll pay $30,000 to help administer.
Yes, I mean, and that's what, we're paying the COG to help us. For one thing, this is federal money, so there are lots of requirements with federal money and record keeping and follow-up and checking with the company regarding salaries that are paid by not just the company, but by contractors that are hired by the company. So there's a tremendous amount of paperwork involved with this, and Sherry Long with the COG has been doing these grants for 30 years, and she is the best that I'm aware of in administering these grants. And I will follow up on Commissioner Peel's question too. We are required to participate in that. Alexander County will pay the money, and the money is reimbursed to the county. So Borealis spends this money, they'll submit invoices to myself and/or Sherry. Those invoices will be checked, Alexander County pay it, that money is then submitted, and then we get reimbursed for it.
Okay. And I'll echo you, Sherry at the COG does a phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
If you look back at all the grant funding and all the grant money that's coming to Alexander County, just in the last, I've been here 3 years, a little more. It's amazing, and she has her hands on every bit of it, so.
Well, these federal grants are very, very complicated, and you can imagine how much paperwork actually goes into them. So you've about to get to hire somebody to do that if you don't have somebody at the Western Piedmont Council of Governments to do it. So, guys, will you put your phones back? It's interfering with my phones.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other questions? Being none, I'd entertain a vote. All in favor of approving the ordinance number P2 for the CDBG project, raise your right hand. Any like sign? All right. Motion approves and unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, David. Moving on to item number 4, I'd recognize Mr. Dale Clary, Board Chairman, and this is for the Alexander County Partnership for Children. And I did notice that he brought Dolly Parton along with him, so. Oh, okay, all right.
Sure.
All right. I'll rephrase that. She's here. Yeah, yeah.
We're very excited tonight. And for the audience, I'm Dale Clary, current chair of the board for the Alexander County Partnership for Children. We're going to give you a brief recap of what the partnership does, and our main focus tonight will be on the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which you'll be as excited as we are when we go through that.
And I'm Natasha Williams with the Alexander County Partnership for Children. I'm the literacy coordinator there. So I'll be speaking a little bit to that portion of our programs and things like that.
And everybody knows Ms. Parton.
Yeah.
Photo ops later, small donation.
Yeah.
We'll start off with our mission statement, which is to ensure that every child in Alexander County will enter school healthy and ready to succeed. You know, and I feel like I'm talking to the choir tonight, and I look up here at the ex-board members, retired educators, Dr. Hefner. I feel like half the room probably knows more about this than I do, which that is a great thing. We work with all the, or most of the preschool daycare centers in the county. The parents, the children, training, zero local money. And the partnership is no different than the county government or school systems. We have definitely felt the budget squeeze on the state level and all big time in the last few years. These folks have done a tremendous job of stretching resources, the multiple hats the staff wears. I would be safe to say you've actually expanded programs during the budget squeeze, which I think tells the story. But the programs are for kids aged 0 to 5 in the county. One example I give you on how well they do with funds, we had a fundraiser back in 2012, raised a little over $3,000. The board at that time voted to spend that money totally on literature for health and wellness. Okay, we're probably going to spend the last $200 to $300 this spring. And it's all been for books on healthy eating, lifestyle, exercise. There's a spring fling every year in the park. A lot of agencies in the county participate, and that's where a lot of the books are given out. And we're probably going to tap out this year with the last 50 books. But pretty remarkable, $3,000 has lasted since 2012. Amazing staff. You'll see on the next slide, I won't read all this, but you'll see some of the various projects, programs the partnership works with. It's a very wide range. It's amazing the amount of services, training that takes place out of that small building and a small staff. Outstanding job. Natasha, you were going to expand on a couple of programs?
Yes, a few of the programs that I facilitate is the Play to Learn group. We've just started last year, and it's a literacy-based program where we allow, usually our enrollment we do infant and toddler. So infant group, we normally take about 5 families with the space that we have at our office, and 6 families for our preschool group. And it has to be the parent, but it's an 8-week program that families commit to come in those 8 weeks. And each week we have a different literacy topic. And I give them ideas and things that some things they're already doing at home, just letting them know that you are supporting their early development in literacy, and some things that they can continue to help do that at home before they start kindergarten. And also the Raising a Reader program. It is a program that we provide to 4- and 5-star centers in our county. And we currently have 19 classrooms that participate, and we serve close to 300 children with that program. And it's a bag program, so they get a little red bag that the teachers send home, and it rotates throughout the year. So every child will get a different bag each week.
We're
with
proud of
different
that
books.
bag. Do not try to take it away from the child.
So that's another program that we do as well, as far as touching on that literacy.
Thank you. And I did want to point out that what makes a lot of this happen, we have a great board for the Partnership of Children. Mr. Lale sits on it, Dr. Hefner, Deputy Moore. So we're pretty well represented here tonight, but it's a group that really pulls together. The increase at the state level, what we have to do for in-kind matching funds, no surprise, has gone up the last 2 years. We were very concerned. We've been able to meet that with no problem. Everybody pitching in more time, money for your lunch, different ways. So it's a group that definitely brings a lot of skills to the table, and they care about our kids. Now, I know Dr. Hefner would agree. We better care about them between 0 and 5, or we're in trouble. Okay, we're to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. If you're like me, until this come across the table at a board meeting, I had never heard of it. Dolly Parton was the world-famous entertainer. But briefly, she started this program in 1995 for her home county in Tennessee. And I think everybody knows the story, very poor background, poor county. She wanted to start a program that the very low-income kids were not singled out because they were getting something free. She wanted all the kids to be helped the same, to feel the same. So it started in 1995, and by 2003, 1 million books have been mailed out. It's a lot of books. We started mailing books in November, and we're up to,
Let's see. We gave out.
Kathy, how many?
757 books have been distributed so far.
Okay.
But we do have, currently, we have 495 children who are registered for the program, which is awesome. The slide will show a different number, but that was as of today. We had 495 children registered.
And I think the estimate's around 1,795 0 to 5 kids in our county.
Yes.
So out of the gate to reach that many, they've done an excellent job. I've got a 4-year-old granddaughter to be getting one in the mail very soon.
The next couple of slides, I think you'll see some pictures of the children that.
Yeah, we're excited. Ms. Parton is actually going to talk to you in a moment, but we messed up on our end getting the link to Chad, so I'm sorry, no video from Dolly. Been 1.9 million graduates in the program, which means 1.9 kids have gone through it to the age of 5. Yeah, we did. Thank you. You want to cover that?
Sure. And the reason that Alexander County was able to get this program, which I know lots of families were awaiting for this, but our legislators and North Carolina state lawmakers included $3.5 million the first year and $7 million in the second year of the state budget for Smart Start to administer the Dolly Parton Imagination Library across North Carolina. So not just in Alexander County, but it's going to be all across North Carolina. So we do want to thank our legislators for approving that and allowing us to put those funds towards literacy.
Yeah, that was a pleasant shock or surprise when I saw that money coming, so. In your roles, from time to time, I know you talk to these guys, be sure to tell them that local communities do appreciate it. Not going unnoticed. Be included, we've definitely sent the other messages the last few years.
And here are these are actual photos of kids that have received their very first book. Every child that registers, their first book is the Little Engine That Could, is the very first book that they get. So these are some cute faces that we were given pictures to share. And again, that number with the current that we are serving is 495 as of today, so our boys and girls numbers will be a little bit different. 757 books have been distributed since November, and like Dale had said, we have an estimated number of 1,795 in Alexander, so we're hoping we can reach as many of those as we can.
If you stop and think for a moment, everybody here knows what a challenge it is getting information in our county. You know, we got the weekly newspaper, radio station, depends on which side of what hill you're on. So for these folks get the information out to get that type of response, took a lot of, and it tells me the daycare centers have bought into the program.
And the majority of how we got the word out is just by word of mouth and social media. I do want to take a moment to thank Kathy Riddle. She has been a big support in helping with the program since it's kicked off. We have to go in and approve every child that registers. So 495 children, there's a couple steps you have to do to approve each child. So she has volunteered her time to help approve those families and children. So I very much appreciate her because, as Dale said, we wear many hats at the partnership with just the few staff that we have. So we do appreciate all of your help, Kathy.
She actually updated the count for us a few minutes ago.
The youngest one that I've registered is 4 days old
Wow,
last week.
got to start.
So I want to go into a little bit about, because we've heard about a couple programs that we're already doing for the county, but so why another program, literacy program? North Carolina is facing a growing skills gap. By 2020, 67% of jobs in the state will have to require some kind of post-secondary education. So the majority of North Carolina fourth graders right now are not proficient in key predictors of future success, which is reading. And according to the Department of Public Instruction, 36% of Alexander County third graders were not reading proficient for grade level at the end of 2016-2017 school year. So we're trying to get these books in those hands as early as possible.
If I could add, that's not an indictment of our local school system. That school system, that's mom and dad, that's the home, that's grandpa. It has to start before they get to kindergarten and all, and that's what these type programs are about.
So, as many of you already know, like Dale said, we have lots of people here that have education backgrounds. So I'm not going to go into detail about all of this, but we all know that the foundations of our children come from our early experiences. So helping to build our brains, which is built through positive experiences, which we're hoping will start with a book. So when they're young, we're hoping that those families are pulling those children up into their laps and sharing books with them, creating that positive relationship and that strong bond between families. So we know research shows that children who are strong readers come from families who support and value books and literacy programs and activities. So we're hoping to help
And I would
spread
point
the
out,
word
most
of
people
learning.
here probably, some of us, it's been a long time, but you can remember when you had infants in your house, preschool kids, and even if mom would stay home, mom, what a challenge it could be to get to the library or what else. You don't have to at this program. You drop it back in the mail. So if you live other side of Barrett's Mountain, well, we got 3 libraries now, that's great, but if you're in a rural area, you just have to go to the mailbox.
So we're asking how you can help us today is to help spread the word by sharing with families. There's a website that they can go to. They can access that website through our website, which is alexanderchildren.org. We also have paper registrations that are spread out throughout the county. Both of the Bethlehem branch and the main library have our information. I'm going to be taking information to the Stony Points. I was there this morning and seen what a wonderful space they have, and I'm excited for that community as well. So we're going to get some information to them. But just try to help us spread the word. So if any child under the age of 5 is welcome to register for the program, it's all free. They get their last book on their 5th birthday. So if they are already 5, it's probably too late for them to sign up. But anyone under the age of 5, we encourage you to register those kiddos.
And the local library is very supportive. Laura and Ms. Mill are both on our board, and definitely been another source of getting information out and signing people up. So it's kind of typical what makes things work in a community like ours. There's a lot of different people pitching in.
One last thing before I forget. We are doing our kickoff event at the auditorium next Friday from 6:30 to 7:30. We're going to have illusionist and storyteller Caleb Sigmund coming to do a family event and it's all free. So anyone's welcome to come. We're also going to have space for families to register their children for the program and start getting those free books in the mail. So we want to encourage families to come and join us next Friday at 6:30 for a free family program at the auditorium. So I do have some flyers if anyone would like some today. I'll leave them.
When's the last time somebody come in front of you guys and used the word free so many times?
Been a while, yeah.
Any questions for us?
I don't have a question, but I am on the ACPC board. I occasionally, I make most of the meetings, but occasionally they're tough because they're right at noon, during the week. But I can say I'm proud to be on that board because the Partnership for Children does a lot of good work. And talking about the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, our recently adopted son, and this is bad, it may be through Caldwell County because we fostered through Caldwell County because I'm a county commissioner and there was a conflict of interest with doing that through Alexander. But he is signed up and I don't remember us signing him up, so I think they did that for us. But he gets the books. And I mean, guys, these are not little cheap reproduction, paperbacks. These are legitimate hardback, just like you would buy at a bookstore. And Grant is, our son is, he's 19 months old. But he loves to sit down. He loves for us to pick up a book and read it, and read it to him. And sometimes I just kind of make up words because he's looking at it and I can't read it upside down and that far away. But,
You're not skipping pages, are you?
I don't know.
I got buses.
Depends on if he's turning, if he's turning, sometimes it's more than one at a time, but I do see definitely, the Dolly Parton program is a phenomenally good thing for any family that can take part in it. And I'd just like to say, to the Partnership for Children, and, Dale is the chairman of the board, good job. We do appreciate what you do. Before I was on the board, I didn't have any idea what the partnership, Alexander County Partnership for Children did. And it took a while for me to learn because there are so many things that they do. It's not, it's not a, hey, they do this. It's, they orchestrate this and do that and do this and handle that and do this and that and that and that and that and that. And it's a lot of direct, hands-on, positive effect to the children and families in our county. So I just wanted to say,
And I almost
Way to
forgot
go.
one of the most important things tonight. I'm actually standing in for Paula Klein, our executive director. Paula's in Raleigh today on partnership business, so I didn't want to leave her out.
Right.
She drives a lot of this.
Thank you for that, Josh. We appreciate that.
absolutely.
Appreciate what y'all are doing, appreciate the work, and, keep up the good work. It takes all of us working together to make this thing work, and for our children, that's what we've got to be acclimated for.
Thank you guys for your time, because this, through you guys, will reach a lot of people.
Well,
Get $5 after a while.
I've been thinking about that.
I can see the wheels turning.
I just want to say, how important it is to read to your kids or your grandkids. It's so important. And I've got a 4-year-old. I read to him every night. He gets 2 books every night. He knows. Sometimes it's one's a long book, and I'll try to say, well, let's just go on to sleep. No, you gotta have 2 books. So he knows he's getting his 2 books, and he looks forward to it, loves it. And a year ago, he wasn't that into it, but now he absolutely just loves to read. And
We have to expose them.
yeah.
Have to
That's
expose them.
right.
Their success later in life, their success in school, is very dependent on how good that they can read and communicate, and you got to start at an early age. And we appreciate you guys doing all you do to help what kids are out there.
If we're funded next 2 years, 3rd year, I hope we don't come back and ask for money.
And they haven't put a cap on us yet for our numbers for the county, so we're just gonna, it was 450, wasn't it, Kathy? But we surpassed it, and they haven't stopped us yet, so. We're trying to get as many as
And
we
in the
can.
world of preschool education in North Carolina, this is a pretty big deal having this in Alexander County, so it's
That's right.
not to be taken for granted.
All right.
Thank you for all that you do for our little guys.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. The ability to read, it unlocks all the doors.
Can't do anything else, but you know that better than I do. You're about ready.
That's right.
We have to plug after guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, maybe Micah needs to get your picture there if you're going to kiss her.
Not by myself, come on, man.
We can get Kathy up here too.
Come on, Ken.
If you can crop that, it'll look like she's really here.
I'll say, what's Gail gonna
Work
think?
with it a little bit.
What's Gail gonna think?
42 years.
Yeah, he probably said, he's not going to push out.
I think that's real nice, people showing up for these things.
Thanks again for all that you guys do.
Thanks. Okay. Moving on to item number 5, I recognize County Manager, Mr. Rick French, for 2017 year in review.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We wanted to propose some review with some highlights of some of the economic development activity that went on in Alexander County in 2017. And perhaps one of the most exciting announcements in 2017 was on May 23rd, when Alexander County Economic Development Director David Eisenhower announced that Borealis Compounds committed to purchasing the 50,000 square foot Alexander Railroad shell building in the Alexander Industrial Park. Borealis will initially invest $15 million in the new plant and create 37 jobs. The project was a successful partnership between the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina Department of Commerce, Alexander County, Alexander Railroad Company, Appalachian Regional Commission, the One North Carolina Fund, the North Carolina Railroad Company, and the North Carolina Department of Transportation. And on a related note, the county pledged $298,000 to match a grant from the Appalachian Regional Commission to construct a new sewer pump station in the Alexander Industrial Park. The pump station is being relocated and with expanded capacity to serve the new Borealis plant and any possible industrial expansions in the industrial park, a 25-acre shovel-ready site, and other potential sites. Another significant project is the SureTape Technologies Job Retention Wastewater Project, which is estimated for completion in April. The project was another outstanding example of partnerships between the Golden Leaf Foundation, $930,000, the Appalachian Regional Commission, $278,000, Alexander County Government, $185,000, for a total project cost of approximately $1.4 million. The project includes installation of force main sewer lines, pump stations. SureTape will no longer be dependent on its own site, privately owned wastewater treatment facility, which was aging and expensive to operate. This sewer project retains 160 jobs in Alexander County. The SureTape sewer project also provides opportunities for new industries location in the Stony Point community, as well as a possibility of extending sewer service to Stony Point Elementary School. In November, Alexander County applied for a Community Development Block Grant Infrastructure CDBG 1 grant from the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality in the amount of $894,750, with a county match of $89,250. Notification of the application status is expected in April of this year. Another exciting project that's being developed is the county is providing vital infrastructure which will enhance opportunities for economic development in the Bethlehem community. The Bethlehem Sewer Collection System extension and pump station upgrade project will include installation of 1,900 lineal feet of 15-inch, 6,300 lineal feet of 12-inch, and 10,500 lineal feet of 8-inch gravity sewer lines, 12,000 lineal feet of 8-inch force main, the upgrade of 2 pump stations, and the installation of a new pump station. The county has applied for loans through the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund Program with a $3 million zero-interest loan and a $2.1 million loan with a maximum interest rate of 1.91% over a 20-year period. Alexander County will provide $103,000 of local funds to pay a 2% loan fee, making the total project cost of a little over $5.2 million. Pending loan approval, construction should begin in the first quarter of 2019 with completion within 18 to 24 months. And along with the sewer project, we have our water projects. Alexander County is also working to install water lines in 7 different locations of roads, which will provide residents with a safe and reliable water source. The project includes extension of water lines along unserved portions of Teaktown Road, Polly Bowman Road, B&T Lane, Ned Herman Road, Zeb Watts Road, Liberty Grove Church Road, Dula Loop, Fox Court, and Eichard Ridge Road, for a total of 76,000 lineal feet of water lines. The county has applied for loans through the Drinking Water State Revolving Loan Fund program. It's a $3 million zero-interest loan and a $1,900,000 loan with a maximum interest rate of 1.91% over a 20-year period. The county will provide $99,426 of local funds to pay for the 2% loan fee. Total cost of this water project is just a little over $5 million. And these, okay, that's, well, next slide, please. Alexander County is also seeking ways to improve broadband internet service for residents and businesses. The county awarded a contract to Open Broadband LLC to complete a broadband feasibility study, which showed potential in Alexander County based on the vertical assets, towers and mountains and things of that nature, and existing fiber optic lines. Open Broadband believes the most cost-effective route to improve broadband service would be utilizing fixed wireless service and doing a pilot program with a new internet service provider at a cost of approximately $50,000. And that would deploy symmetric high-speed broadband to designated underserved areas. Alexander County will soon be issuing a request for proposals for a pilot program. And of course, the CVCC Alexander Applied Technology Center has proven to be a true asset to Alexander County. The 37,500 square foot building houses the CVCC Alexander Furniture Academy and a welding lab, in addition to classroom space. The Furniture Academy, which has graduated 53 students as of December 2017, opened in mid-2016, and continues to provide a much-needed training ground for furniture manufacturers in Alexander County. County officials saw the need for a workforce training center and purchased the former Apparel Technologies property in 2012. With significant grant funding from the United States Economic Development Administration, EDA, Golden Leaf Foundation, Appalachian Regional Commission, and Duke Energy Foundation, along with county funding, this training center would serve Alexander County for many years to come. The county is very appreciative of its relationship with Catawba Valley Community College, which operates the center. This is a picture of upholstery students at the CVCC Alexander Furniture Academy. The Furniture Academy is currently teaching its fourth session. Next slide. This is pictures of the welding lab at CVCC, Alexander Applied Technology Center. This is a programmable robotic welder, easy for me to say. Students from the CVCC main campus come here to use this tool. So it's another step in training. And of course, Phase 2 of Rocky Face Mountain Recreational Area, Rocky Face Park, was completed in 2017, much to the delight of the park's thousands of visitors, thanks to a $225,000 grant from the North Carolina Parks and Recreation Trust Fund and $325,000 in local fund. Residents and visitors now have additional amenities at the park, including a multi-purpose building, which is with restroom, which is in the with office space, which is in the picture, adventure playground, outdoor classroom, individual picnic shelters, wetlands, observation area, and more. Rocky Face continues to grow in popularity across the region and the state. You can learn more about the park at www.rockyfacepark.com. And of course, in November, as we closed out 2017, a public meeting was held to share details and answer questions about the North Carolina Department of Transportation's plans to widen North Carolina Highway 127 to 4 lanes with a median from Ritchie Road in Bethlehem to Cloninger Mill Road in Catawba County. Right-of-way acquisition is expected to begin in 2021, with construction to commence in 2023. The project, which is estimated to cost over $30 million in state funds, will improve traffic conditions and safety in the Bethlehem community. County officials are optimistic about the widening project as it provides opportunities for residential and commercial growth in Bethlehem while greatly improving traffic congestion. Are there any questions? anyone has.
Whole lot of things going on, so,
And more in the works,
yeah.
and more in the works.
Mr. French, I'd like to say too, that those in the graduates of the Furniture Academy and the welding program, those guys they're getting jobs. They're very employable once they come through those programs.
Yes, and I believe when Borealis came, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that was one of the things that really brought them into our county, was having the job training center, and, you know, a lot of good things that are going on, and I've always said before, it's kind of like government wheels turn at like 0 miles per hour, but, you know, we're making some strides, and, you know, hopefully, you know, gonna help the citizens and to help each other to get where we need to be, so, appreciate it, Mr. French.
Thank you.
And there's probably a lot of other information you could have included in there, but I think that was a good selection of highlights.
Thank you.
And if you've not been out to Rocky Face Park, really, you know, take a trip out there. Take your kids, grandkids, go out there. It's really great. So you'd be really surprised what this looks like if you've not been out there in the last 5 or 6, 7 years.
You wouldn't recognize the place, so. Anyone else? If not, thank you, Mr. French, for that report, and recognize Mr. French, our county manager, again, for actually number 6 and number 7.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You have 2 reimbursement resolutions. The first one is for the Bethlehem Sewer System Extension Project number that you have in front of you. What this does is sets the project up so that we can be reimbursed for costs as we go along. This is first part of the process. It says the county intends to finance the cost of the project. The expected type of financing is the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality State Reserve Project loan. The expected maximum amount of obligation to be issued or contracted for the project is $5,181,300. And we would recommend that the reimbursement resolution for the Bethlehem Sewer System Extension Project be approved tonight.
All right. Everyone's heard the resolution. I would entertain a motion to approve the Bethlehem Sewer Extension Project reimbursement resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the reimbursement resolution for the Bethlehem Sewer System Extension Project, project number E-SRP-W-17-0067.
Okay. Have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? Being none, I'd entertain a vote. All in favor, vote with raising right hand. Any opposed, likewise. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, and moving on to item number 7, Mr. French again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the reimbursement resolution for the Water System Extension Project, which we just talked about. The county intends to finance the cost of the project. The expected type of financing is the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality State Reserve Project loan. The expected maximum amount of obligation to be issued or contracted for the project is $4,971,335. And again, this is the first step we have to take so that as we expend funds, we'll be reimbursed by the state.
Okay. All right.
We recommend approval for that also.
Okay. Once again, I recommend a motion to approve reimbursement resolution for the Water System Extension Project in Bethlehem.
I recommend approval of reimbursement resolution Water System Extension Project, project number HSRP-D-17-0098.
Okay, have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any questions or any discussion?
I'll just make one observation. So when this project's completed, we are financing it at 0 interest and low interest, but you still have to pay that money back. So that money is going to be paid back through the water system, not through property taxes or sales taxes or any of that. So it will actually be paid back through funds that are generated in the water system.
One other to echo, echo that thought. Mr. French, correct me if I'm wrong, there has never been any property tax or other public funds used to pay for water system. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Our water system to this point has been completely self-sufficient, which is the way we like it. Because we don't feel like it's that way. The citizens that use the water system are paying for the water system, and the citizens that are not using the water system are not.
Correct. And I think we can see where doing these things opens up the doors for other things to happen for economic, the business, the retail, the developments, all of those things. So it carries on right on through. So I'd entertain a vote. All in favor by raising your right hand. Okay, unanimously approved. Thank you, gentlemen. Moving on to item number 8 is board appointments and reappointments. And Mr. French, you're up again.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Planning and Zoning Commission, reappoint Don Harrington and Sam Davis Jr. for 2 years. Region E, Adult Care and Nursing Home, CAC, reappoint Mary Inman for 3 years. Equalization and Review Board, reappoint Doug Ramsey, David Odom, Linda Barnett, Bobby Norton, Donovan Douglas for 1 year. The Western Piedmont Council of Government Sister Cities Association, reappoint David Eisenhower as the alternate for 1 year. And we didn't have this listed, but the Finance Committee, which would be Chairman Ronnie Reese and Vice Chair Josh Lale.
Okay, everyone's heard those names and appointments, and I think for most of them, there's some background that's attached. I would entertain a motion to approve these appointments and reappointments.
So moved.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. Any discussions or questions? All right. Good group of people, I think, maybe except for those last two on the, but I will entertain a vote now to approve these board appointments. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Moving on to item number 9 is budget ordinance amendments, number 32 through 35. And Mr. French, recognize again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget amendment number 32 is the budget for general fund local match for the Borealis Compounds Building Reuse Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, the new sales tax article 44-524 that can be used for economic development, public education, community college began in fiscal year 2017. The county match amount is being taken from the new sales tax that was received in fiscal year 2017, which is in fund balance. That's Amendment 32. 33 is one of the first steps as far as authorizing funds to be spent out of the sewer. Is to increase the Bethlehem Sewer Fund annual budget for estimated $64,650 of engineering contract for surveying and easement for pump station for the sewer collection system extension and pump station upgrade project. The new sales tax can be used for economic development. And those items I just discussed earlier. County general fund transfer to Bethlehem Sewer Fund is being taken from the new sales tax that received in fiscal year 2017. And again, this is for surveying and to locate a pump station. There will be another budget amendment at our next meeting or so about engineering fees, which you already have engineering fees, which is going to be a big number, but this is for that portion, which is just surveying and handling the easement. 34 is the big one. It's to amend the county water and sewer fund annual budget for $508,000 for engineering contract for water line extension. This is for McGill to do all the engineering for the water project that we talked about earlier. And we'll have a larger budget amendment for the sewer engineering portion. And just to be, so you'll be clear, the engineering report was submitted on December 1st, and we'll receive engineering approval on May 1st. Both the projects have been submitted on time, and we've had no other comments, so everything will be approved in May. We just want to get ahead on the project, if possible, by doing these steps. And number 35 is to budget for the receipt of the Homeland Security grant to be used for the purchase of a generator, which is $1,900. I'll be glad to try to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman or board members.
Mr. Prince, just to clarify, budget amendments 33, 34, 33 and 34, which deal with the water and sewer expansion
Right.
projects in Bethlehem. Basically, these budget amendments were created by the reimbursement.
That's correct.
The reimbursement agreements that we approved earlier.
Yes, sir.
So these monies that we are moving now will, can and will be reimbursed to the county as part of the new 0% financing. Like Mr. French mentioned, this is so we can go ahead and move forward and not wait on that financing or those funds to be available. So just to clarify that we weren't just spending this money
That's right.
and just spending this money, because that's not what the,
What
That's not what we're doing.
what this will do is, as we move along in the process, and how the schedule looks, is to try to get ahead as much as possible, so the project could be bid earlier, and the project could, construction could start earlier, and people could start tapping on to the lines earlier. But you try to start a little bit early if you can to get started on the engineering. In the case of the sewer, you're trying to do easements and surveying where the sewer lines are going to be located, those types of things. So those are all costs we'll be reimbursed for, like we will for all the funds. When the project gets complete, we'll start paying the loan back, which is the beauty of these kind of loans. It's not, you don't start making debt service payments until the project is completed. So hope that explains it.
Okay. And I'm sure the people in those areas would appreciate us moving quicker to get things rolling, so, and I think everyone here present and those listening or that'll be reading in the paper, this board doesn't really take budget amendments, just very easily. We make sure, what it is, and check it out, so, but, there is still, questioning, so, and that's a good thing. That's not saying that, we're divided on anything, but I think when it comes to our economic development, I think each one of us, put that at the top of our list for things to go on.
Mr. Chairman, and a lot of people, certainly I did not understand all of that at one time either. But a lot of things that we do, you can't do in June. I mean, and it has to be an amendment. That's the only way that we can function. And so many things that we don't have a crystal ball that enables us to see all that. So once the budget amendments come up, they are, thoroughly vetted and very important items that we definitely give a lot of attention to, and they are very beneficial for doing business.
Yes, sir. Okay, with all that being said, it comes down to the, need a motion to approve the budget ordinance amendments 32 through 35.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve budget ordinance amendments number 32, 33, 34, and 35 as read, or as stated.
All right, have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second?
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, if there's none, I would entertain a vote. All in approval, will raise your right hand. Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you again, Jim. Okay, and we'll move on to item number 10, our county manager's report, and recognize Mr. Rick French, county manager, once again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one thing to mention, that we have closed on the evidence storage building that's used by the Sheriff's Department. That was closed in January 30th. And we have a number of items for closed session tonight, contractual, personnel, and economic development, so.
All right. Thank you for that update. This time, I'd entertain a motion of approval for, I'm sure each one's had a chance to see the consent agenda, and I'd entertain a motion to approve it as stated.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? If not, entertain a vote of approval. All will raise your right hand, vote for approval. All right, carries unanimously. Thank you once again, gentlemen. And next thing, we will go into closed session, reference to NCGS 143-31811 for economic development, contractual, and personnel items. We will reconvene just for the purpose of adjournment. I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion, to have a second.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, approves unanimously. Thank you. We'll be in closed session.